Today we're here with Jose Luis, Director of Economic Development and Tourism of the city of Merida.
Thank you.
So I have seen the growth of Merida for the past years and I would like to know what's next. So I have a few questions for you.
Yes.
The first question that I'm going to ask you is, what economic growth is predicted for the city of Merida or the state of Yucatan in the near future?
Ok, para el caso de la ciudad de Mérida, nosotros hemos estado en coordinación incluso con la estadística que tiene el gobierno del estado y a diferencia de los otros estados incluso en el país que están creciendo en una media nacional entre un 3 y un 4%, la ciudad de Mérida hoy está creciendo a un ritmo de un 8.1%.
Perfecto. Well, thank you for that. And the second question is, why is that Merida has become one of the hottest places to retire and for real estate investments?
Bueno, de acuerdo a incluso varias estadísticas que tenemos, hoy Mérida está seleccionada como la mejor ciudad para vivir del país. Esto se debe principalmente a los índices de seguridad que son tan altos. Hoy también Mérida es reconocida como la ciudad más segura de todo el país, pero la segunda ciudad más segura de todo el continente americano después de Quebec, Canadá. Tal manera que este ambiente de seguridad jurídica y de seguridad pública hace una tierra fértil para la atracción y que hoy estemos considerada como la ciudad más segura de todo el país.
Perfect. So does the local government offer help for business owners from other countries that want to bring their companies to Merida?
Sí, we have different incentives that we can offer in case that you decide to come here and invest. Let me just give you some examples. For instance, the infrastructure support for the purchase, rent or industrial warehouse or any land for construction that you are interested on. We have the exemption of the state payroll tax, management of paperwork, permits, rights and license, links to the universities and technical schools, and also, as I said, local providers.
Last time we spoke, I know you mentioned that you had a special window for investors to come and receive this help, right? So
yes.
That means that your department has an open door policy for investors and business owners?
The mayor of the city, Mr. Renan Barrera Concha, he just ordered to have on this administration the first office of investment attraction. It's like a specific area of the economic and tourism direction where we can help everyone that comes here, even to invest or as a provider, and you don't need to go around all the different government's departments. This will be like the one and only area where we can help you with that. It's called the Investment Attraction Office.
First of all, thank you for your time, Mariana. I want to know a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Mariana Rodriguez. I am an attorney based in Merida, Yucatan, and we do both immigration law and property law.
Perfect. For international investors who aren't Mexican residents or Mexican citizens, how can they invest?
That's a very good question. Talking, for example, about a big investment opportunity now that are with properties. Merida and most of the Yucatan beach area is part of something called a restricted zone. So if someone wants to buy a property to be able to invest as a hotel, Airbnb, or even just have a property for their own use, it's important that they do it through a trust that is with a bank normally, or that they buy through a company property in Mexico, or even their LLC from the States being able to buy here in Mexico.
So can a U.S. investor buy a property with an LLC?
Definitely. If you're talking about an LLC, for example, from the States,
yes,
the LLC can buy a property in Mexico, but they have to do it also through a trust, through a bank. Now, some people create LLCs in Mexico, and that LLC buys a property, so there's the two options.
Okay, perfect. And then how difficult it is to become a Mexican resident?
It is not extremely difficult, but again, it does depend on the person. It's very important for me to know the person's specific circumstances to be able to create a good strategy for them. Not only something that takes the least time, but also that saves money for them. So that is why we always start with the consulting to make sure that we understand your circumstances and we make it easier for you.
So you talked about a fideicomiso, which is a trust. Would you touch a little bit on that?
Yeah, so in a practical way, a fideicomiso When you want to buy property in a restricted zone, you practically have the bank owning the property. You're giving its name and saying, I am going to have this property and let it be administered by somebody else, which in this case will be the actual owner. A lot of my clients do tell us, well, does that mean that it's not really my property? No. In reality, you have to pay the bank certain fees every year to be able to have their name included, and that in that way you can buy a property in Mexico in the restricted zone. But in reality, if you want to sell that property, do business with it, you can as well, because you are in a practical way the owner.
Bueno, pues primero que nada, Guillermo, agradecerte. Me gustaría hacerte 5 preguntitas rápidas. Y la primera pregunta, first question, ¿cuánto tiempo tienes desarrollando? How long have you been developing?
Pues un poco antes de que empecé esto, empezamos con unos townhouses y departamentos que están en Temozón. Entonces, pues empiezo yo con el proyecto busco el capitalista, le armo todo el negocio, y no estoy diciendo que fue fácil, no, obviamente hubieron muchas trabas, el camino y todo, pero así fue como empecé. Y después mi familia tienen terrenos pues acá en Tulum, Cancún, etcétera, y digamos que hicimos como que un trato, ¿no? En donde ellos nos aportan tierra y nosotros lo desarrollamos, y allá fue que abro M2 y empiezo con el tema de los terrenos residenciales y de inversión.
¿Y cuántos desarrollos tienes hoy día? How many developments are you currently working on?
Son 4 de M2, 2 aparte en otras empresas, porque los manejo con otros socios. Pero en M2 son 4 que son Piaró, Paseo Península, Ajahuel y Villamare.
¿Y por qué tú consideras que la inversión en Mérida y Tulum, especialmente en tus developments, es algo que el inversionista tendría que voltear a ver?
Porque tratamos de escoger las mejores ubicaciones dentro de la tierra que está a nuestra disposición para adquirir, todo con fideicomisos. Trato de escoger la que yo siento que va a tener más plusvalía. Pues a lo mejor hoy compran a 1,000 pesos, a 2,000 pesos, y con el paso de 1 año, de 2 años, ya valen muchísimo más, porque no solo estoy yo, hay muchos otros desarrolladores que le ven oportunidad a la zona.
Jorge, thank you so much for receiving me here in your office. Since this video is going to go to our investors in the US, I have a few questions for you. Accounting, it's something that we don't keep in mind when we are starting a new business, especially in Mexico, because we believe that it might be similar to the US. So the first question is, can you explain briefly how companies file taxes in Mexico?
Well, everything depends about the activity of the company. It's just a company that you want to make and create a company to buy land, houses or something. You can do everything monthly like a company. If you do like individual person, like individually, you can do every year. So it's going to depend about the activity of the person, like a person or like a company. Usually in Mexico, it's every month.
Okay.
And at the end of the year, we make another tax declaration, that is the annual tax declaration, and inform all the monthly taxes that we do in the year.
Okay. All right. Second question. How expensive can it be for a civilian or for a business owner?
Okay, it depends about the activity, because you can start a company in Mexico like individual person, but you need some permissions.
Okay.
And then if you have the permission to stay here like a permanent residence or temporary residence, you can start a business like individual. But if you want to create a company, it's going to be another type of activity that you have to do.
Okay.
So if you start like individual, maybe it's going to be like in the same average, 100 or 200. And if you're going to make your business like a company, create a corporation in Mexico, it's going to be a little bit more.
Okay. When you say 100, you mean pesos or US dollars?
US
monthly
US
or
dollars.
a year?
Monthly.
Okay. And last question. You mentioned how foreigners sometimes don't even have to be present to open a company in Mexico. How so?
Well, if you have some legally representative here in Mexico, you have a business partner, a Mexican business partner, and this person is going to be a shareholder from the company, have to be more than yours. And
In percentages?
In percentages, yes.
Okay.
So
that's if you do it as U.S. citizens.
Yes.
Right, but if you do it as a permanent Mexican,
It's different.
then you can change those
Yeah, you can
percentages,
change- you can
and
change
you can
the
have that representative to be 1%
Yes.
maybe.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Then
Perfect.
actually that is the strategy that I always propose, because if you have your temporary residence, you can have your tax ID, and if you have your tax ID, you can be owner of a company, you can be shareholder with the more percentage of the company, and the legally representative is going to be here for all the things that you need to do with the tax office or the bank and all the stuff.